Hello, people. I'm coming at you at 7:03 in the morning here in Omaha, Nebraska on a Wednesday morning, right? Always have to check. 18th of September. A week from today will be my older brother James's 71st birthday. I got a call from him yesterday. It was really nice to talk to him. And I'm happy to say that I was able to get my older sister to call him. There's been a freeze going on between my sisters and my older brother. Whole lot of reasons. A lot of you folks who have family know what it can be like. But after I'll get to music in a second. But after talking to James yesterday, he just called me, and I told him, well, I was going to call you for your birthday next week, but it's good to hear from you, and it was good to hear that he's in a better place than the last time we talked. And I love my brother James, and he's quite a talented man. He really is. Always looking for the hustle, and that was what caused this rift. So anyway, he's not asking people for money or nothing. It was just really good to talk to him. Wearing a Sun Ambulance t-shirt. This is a band that happened in the 90s, around the same time as Bright Eyes. Connor Oberst became known. Joe Knapp, who started this band, was in Bright Eyes and then started Sun Ambulance. Then I joined in the 2000s. So thank you for the feedback, folks. I do very much enjoy, talking about music and sharing with you. It was part of the discussion yesterday that this is what I did with my brother. And he was thanking me that I was the one that turned him on to John McLaughlin and all that stuff. And cool. Good to hear from you, Terry, down in Australia. I no longer have the Vertigo comps that I used to have, sorry to say, and don't have nearly enough Vertigo records. And I wonder why they're so, in particular, I wonder why the UK versions are so collectible and expensive. I'm noticing this spot here, and it makes sense over time that might happen because when we went on tour, Joe had these ordered, but Joe is truly an eccentric artist type. He wanted white t-shirts bleached black. So that's what this is. This is not a black t-shirt. It's a t-shirt bleached black. And perhaps that's why over time, maybe. It was a very wonderful experience and also a learning experience being in the band Sun Ambulance. I want to respond to this. The top comment from yesterday here in the list is someone says, pretty rough what's going on. I've gotten off all social media and try to limit the news now. It's just hard to believe sometimes the rhetoric and people are oblivious to it or think it's okay or just fine. Better to just listen to a book or music and stay home if we can. Boy, do I understand that sentiment. It's a very strange time. It's very bizarre that we have these men who are literally fomenting violence. Springfield, Ohio is going through changes because of bomb threats and lockdowns and schools having to be closed because of what Trump and Vance have said. And they're just still running for president and vice president. It is insane. It's wrong. And it is that double standard, rich people can do what they want shit, added to the fact that they're white. Nice to hear from you folks. Yeah, the Vinyl Voyage is talking about the Yeti cover. I believe the guy on the front of the Yeti cover was one of their roadies. But Julian Cope, yeah, I can dig that. Yeah, I thank you for your compliments on learning something new here. I it's just it's how I am. And hey, Devin, I hear you. Let me know so we can plan if you actually are going to come to Omaha. Get in touch beforehand. Let me know what your plan is. Do you plan to stay with me? If so, there's some caveats for being able to stay here with me where, you know, get ready for this. This doesn't work. That works. That doesn't work. You're welcome, but just know that, my house is my house. It's, you know what I'm saying? Set up for one person to dig. So, it was a beautiful day yesterday. Pretty windy, but supposed to get up in the 90s, so I need to get out again today before it gets hot. Just going with what's really happening. Yesterday, for some reason, I decided to pull this and play it. Herbie Hancock, Crossings. This is a reissue of it. I still have my original copy from my teen years, which is Beat to Hell. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's one of my favorite Herbie Hancock albums. And to me, this is true space jazz. I've mentioned it before, but when I met Herbie Hancock and got to talk to him for a few minutes, I told him this was my favorite of his. And his eyebrows went up. He says, I've never heard it. No one's ever said that to me, much less has anyone ever mentioned this album to me. And I told him I thought, and still do, I think it was futuristic, ahead of the times, groundbreaking. I've had wonderful experiences with that album. Patrick Gleason, who I want to show some of his records. Patrick Gleason was the synthesizer expert who helped Herbie Hancock become acquainted with synthesizers. And so Patrick Gleason's work on that album is stellar on synthesizer. I wanted to mention, besides that, Patrick Gleason solo records. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, although when I saw it the first time it was pretty cool. But then, another quick memory. When I was working in the hospitals, psych hospitals, I would float on the different units. They had me working on all the units. The kids, the adults, the teens, the geriatric. And they wore the Star Wars movies out on the kids' units. They would just play them, way too much. So I got sick of them. But what I'm trying to say is I love Patrick Gleason's version of the Star Wars soundtrack. I love this. I like this better than the original. And if you've never heard this is worth checking out. It's kind of funky too. He's got some good players on here. It's a good one. As well as that, I have a couple of other Patrick Gleason albums. I like synthesizer. The Four Seasons, Vivaldi's, Computer Realizations of Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. Boy, a lot of people have worked with this material. But it's understandable because The Four Seasons is very strong melodically and memorable. Here's another one by Patrick Gleason. I need to listen to this again. Rainbow Delta. It's a nice cover. Now, what got grabbed when I was grabbing the Gleason, right next to it is Gleeman. I've talked about this. The Italian band that became Garibaldi. The next thing next to it is Glencoe. English, kind of a country rock band with somewhat, not prog, just variety. Their second album is the one I really like. spirit of Glencoe. This has a particular song on it, Two on an Island, In Search of a New World. The last song on the album is a favorite. Now, for a minute, people who know the bass player from this band, Norman Watt Roy, were trying to get me to interview him. And I said, well, if I want to make it happen, I saw Norman Watt Roy when he was playing with Ian Dury and the Blockheads. And that was quite a show. It was very memorable. I remember him because the band was hot. They were playing. And they kicked Lou Reed's ass. They opened for Lou Reed. They just whooped the shit out of Lou Reed's band. They really did. They were really good. Took the time to play this damaged split single. It has a DVD of the performances. And this is real punky and wild. That's what I like about Boris, is that it's not one flavor from them, not one. This got played yesterday. It's something that I bought used. Lee Ronaldo with Raul Refree. Names of North End Women. It was used. The price was low. Colored vinyl. I like Sonic Youth, so I thought to myself, well, this should be interesting, and it is. Some of the lyrics I don't relate to. He's talking in non-specifically about someone in a sexual sense, but you can't tell if he's talking about a man or woman. Don't matter. The musical setting for most of these songs is pretty good. I thought for myself, am I going to trade this? This is actually good, and it makes sense that it's on the Mute. Daniel Miller, the Mute label. I used to have TVOD. And Warm Leatherette. Should have never sold it. This is what got played yesterday. We'll see if it leads anywhere else. The Comet is Coming. Another one I picked up used because when I first heard these guys with Shabaka, it wasn't really quite connecting. And I get it. It's this useful thing. It's this young people trying to, I don't know how to say it. It's pretty good. I endeavored to play this though because it's one I always skip over when I play Terry the Ripdoll records. The Singles Collection. This one has a dated production sound which works against it. 1989. This is heading into the 90s. But the drum sounds on this, it really takes away from the album overall. It does, unfortunately. Ripdoll is a great guitarist. I love him, from Norway. I love his work. I had thought for a minute that I would grab some more 10 inches, but I haven't yet. So let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I haven't shown this. I played this the other day. Mark Burgess of the Chameleons. After they broke up the first time, he started this band, The Sun and the Moon. He had gotten Mark Burgess, who I've played with. I've told you, and it's online, of the Chameleons. His songwriting talent was recognized early on because he got I think it was a publishing deal with CBS Records to start with. That went sour. And then the Geffen connection, it's like, he was being courted by the majors because of it. He's that good. And when the Chameleons didn't pop, he still had the connection to Geffen and was able to roll it into another band, Sun and Moon, on the Geffen label. And this is not the Chameleons. There's some similarities, but it's not Chameleons Mark II. It's a different band. And this is good. It's the sun and the moon. Here's something I pulled. Needed to give it a more decent listen. Brazilian electronic music. Jorge Antunes. There's a lot of information about it in here. I haven't read it all. Musica electronica. But these recordings done back in the 70s with a lot of equipment that apparently he pieced together himself. He didn't have money for, the good stuff, so he would build this stuff and piece it together. Also, it involves the use of tape. I've always liked that, and back in the day when you would have random recordings off of radio and TV and different things woven into the sound field. I like that stuff. Still do. And there's a bit of it on here. A lot of this album is quiet, not noisy. Kind of draws you in. Jorge Antunes, Musica Electronica. I love stuff like this. I really do. I do. So I'll make a couple more comments. I'll talk about Diddy right quick. P. Diddy. Now, my background is in working with people and psychiatric psychology. When I first saw Diddy, I saw him back when I first remember seeing him as a dancer in somebody else's videos. And then because I watch everything, I try to, I picked up on his kind of sleazy character like early on. And then I always wondered about him being so successful and rich when he seemed to have very little talent. He was a dancer, but to my eyes, not a very good dancer. Definitely not much of a rapper. So it wasn't surprising to me. It made me sad to find out that Diddy is doing what I think a lot actually, a lot of rich people do behind closed doors with their money, is just take advantage of people, particularly sexually. And I thought it was really quite humorous to see on Twitter where Laura Loomer tried to start some shit by posting a picture of Barack Obama standing with Diddy, and then people just said, "You stupid bitch," and posting picture after picture of Diddy and Trump. See, they're two peas in a pod. Never liked Diddy and always was suspicious of him, okay? But I also have to say the double standard. As soon as they bust a black man, he is off to jail. Diddy was denied bail. They're keeping that black ass in behind bars. And we're still waiting as the destruction of Trump and Vance just continues. It's not fair. It's not right. It's wrong. It's a double standard, and there's racism. Another thing someone had said to me, it shouldn't be too far down. Yes, it's coming here. Just give me a second. They basically said, as for all the political cringe theater out there, my advice is always observe, but do not absorb. And I responded, as a minority, there is no way I can pretend that the political madness doesn't affect me directly, because it does. As a black man, as a minority, there's direct fallout on my life in public here in Omaha with this fomenting, continuing to stir the pot of ignorance, hate, division and racism. It directly affects my life. So I don't have the luxury of being able to just ignore it. If I was white, I could. And that's not a racist thing I'm saying. So just relax, people. I'm telling you how it is. I don't care if you like it or not. Okay? And I'm saying it with love. So, we're hitting the 20-minute mark. I always look right here are some of my favorite records, although some of my favorites are out there that I can't look at because the A's through the D's are out there. My W's are right here. I've shown these, but these are some records. I'll just show these. And I didn't get them all. Okay, so we'll just go here. This is what I'll show and then I'll get off. I'm going to show some Wigwam, but what's next to it? Wildflowers. This is a compilation of recordings by the members of Soft Machine before they became Soft Machine. So this is really early stuff, very kind of rough, but you can hear where they were trying to play jazz, influenced by jazz, and not doing the typical rock and roll thing. So it's real cool in that sense that you can hear what was coming next. Wildflowers, I have the whole series, the New York Loft Jazz Sessions. It took me a while to complete the set. Highly recommend this stuff. I mean, everyone from Julius Hemphill, Hamiet Bluett, to Jimmy Lyons, Oliver Lake, David Murray, the cream of the crop. Just excellent, excellent, excellent. Met David Murray. He was cool. We're friends on Facebook still. So what I was grabbing for was my Wigwam section. The Finnish band, who was a English fella for the lead singer. I was getting it wrong for years. I thought he was American. I think someone corrected me and said he's English. But Wigwam, this is a comp album of theirs. Some early stuff. Tombstone Valentine is on here. Interesting band. They were definitely progressive, but they mixed country with a strong Stevie Wonder influence and their own folk roots to come up with a very unique sound. Here is a comp. Rumors on the Rebound, double album, low priced on Virgin. For a minute, it looked like they were going to break through to a larger audience with this album. This is the first album I ever got by them, the Lucky Golden Stripes and Star Post. The play on words got me because as a kid, I always liked the pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes. It had a real nice logo. And there's nothing about cigarettes on here, so it's still kind of just interesting. Good band. Rumor to the Rebound. Here's one where I had to buy it again because as much as I like the band, I sold it. The original, I don't know why. I keep saying that. I know why. It was nuts. The Dark album. This is a reissue double, so I get extra tracks. Solid band. Jukka Talonen, guitarist, was in this band for a while. Really good stuff. And then here is an original reissue on the Love label of their classic album Being. It's a reissue because it's not a gatefold as the first version was, but it has the insert. It has the insert. And this is a fantastic album. I still don't quite get what they're singing about, but the music is wonderful. And I'll show the logo because I've always liked this logo. The two hearts pumping. Love Records. Ingenious logo. This is a fantastic record. And Wigwam is a great band. So not too long ago, I scored the reissue of Being, put out by Svart. Double album, really nice presentation with a big booklet, a beautiful color vinyl. Very imaginative. I wonder if anybody let Stevie Wonder know about this band, because they sound like him. Not like him, but you can, well, yeah, there's some of the singing is like, yeah, that's Stevie Wonder inflection there. Another one where this one almost broke through, Nuclear Nightclub. Was this 1975 on Virgin? I remember seeing this in the press a little bit, in the English music press. Very good album. Great cover, too. Very fitting of the album. This is very progressive. And then I was after this forever. Wanted an original, never could find one that I could afford. Finally, it was reissued. I grabbed it. Fairy Port. Another cover. What a great cover. And this got the same treatment as Being, with the booklet, double album, extra tracks. Let's see what color vinyl this is. Oh, see, that's a beautiful color. It's beautiful. Fantastic music. And they jam out on this. There's some live stuff on here. They could jam hard. Good band. And even though there's American influences, what they do with it is very un-American, which I like. Tombstone Valentine. This came out in the U.S. This is a DJ copy, though, but it was on Verve. Verve Forecast, right? And look at the hype sticker. In the tradition of Tommy, Bee Gees, and Abbey Road. It didn't help. But this is very good. If you've never heard this band, last thing I'll show is a reissue of their first album. The first copies of this had hand-drawn covers, Hard and Horny. Those are very rare. This is kind of hard to find, too. I just looked it up on Discogs, and it's like, oh, this is still kind of hard to get, hard to find. So that's what I have for you today, folks. Hope everyone is doing okay. Hope that the news isn't too crappy today. Hope that things calm down in Springfield. And that pipe explosion in Texas, jeez, what's going on? Have a good day, people.